It's harder than ever to cut through on any platform. There is more content out there than ever. That shouldn't discourage you. If anything, that's showing that it can be done. You just need to have a unique voice, figure out what makes you different, and then just start.
The conversation podcast is absolutely a thing. The bigger personalities are taking over that space. And I think they're probably pulling away a bit from the TV audience.
Joe Rogan and Alex Cooper are not talking to the same audience. Mm-hmm. They're talking to their own audiences because they know there's no point competing with each other. Not every piece of content needs to be for everyone, but you need to make pieces of content that hit smaller audiences, but the audiences that are genuinely interested.
So if you have a bunch of podcast content, you're creating it, and it's getting some listens on the social platforms, what other things could or should you be doing?
Everyone says, if you started a product tomorrow or if you started a brand tomorrow, what would you do? And I'm always like, I would give it to every single one of my friends and I would say, put this on your Instagram stories and tag it.
What takeaways can you give people listening if they do or don't have an audience yet?
Yes.
Welcome back to the Clear Shot podcast. Today we're joined by Lucinda Bailey. She's the founder and director of Bailey PR. We produce their podcast, the Pretty Average podcast, here at Clear Shot Studios. And we've also enjoyed some great collaboration between our two businesses over the years that we've been working together. Today, the main aim is to talk about the benefits Lucinda has found from podcasting and some advice for listeners on growing their audience. But if I know anything about chatting with Lucinda, we'll be covering all sorts of good stuff throughout this conversation. Lucinda, thanks very much for coming on. It's great having you on here because I really value your perspective. But what I really want to know is how to best utilize podcast content.
100%. I think podcasts are just a very hot topic, right? You know, I think for the past nearly close to a decade now, I would say, people have constantly been talking about podcasts and it's been going up and down, and everyone continues to say, God, the world doesn't need another podcast. Like, surely the world does not need another podcast. And I just disagree with that because I'm like, the way that the world is moving, you see it now, and everyone's talking about these like micro communities and like, you know, leaning into your niche. It's like not every piece of content needs to be for everyone, but you need to make pieces of content that hit smaller audiences, but the audiences that are genuinely interested.
I saw something online this week that was someone not complaining, but just sort of talking about how many there are out there and do we really need any more?
People love to say it.
But it was like, as a global audience, we can't possibly consume every podcast. And someone jumped in underneath and went, well, Can you consume every book that's ever been written? It's like, yeah, that's not the point.
You don't have to consume it. No. Like, I'm not making the Pretty Average podcast, which is our BPR podcast that we do through you guys. I'm not making it for like a, you know, subcontractor who's on site at, you know, like I'm making it for kind of PR students and people interested in the PR industry generally in Australia. Like, that's a small community, but like, Joe Blow, you don't need to listen to it.
But if they get something out of it, then that's wonderful.
Great, yeah. We love that. Yeah. Like, Joe Blow, I would love you to listen to it, but like I don't expect you to.
Can you give us a little bit of extra detail on that podcast? Well, how long have you guys been doing it?
I don't know. How long have we been doing it?
It must be a couple of years.
It's got to be 2 years, which is crazy.
What is it for you? What is the show for you?
So it's the way that it started was very much a content driver. So my PR coordinator / office assistant at the time came to me and said, it's all about video content. Long form video content on TikTok is going to be taking off. She was doing a lot of brand development work and she said, we need to get more of it. We need to focus on TikTok. We need to start a podcast.
Has that happened on TikTok? I don't really think that has.
It didn't, no. So there was a lot of, like with anything, in terms of like trend forecasting. I actually learned recently that 98% of predictions don't come true. I thought that was really interesting. Like only 2% come true. So like why are we all hinging these strategies on like trend predictions? Anyway, I digress. So she was just essentially like, we need more content and it gives us heaps. So she went on this journey to start this podcast. And that was the intention behind it, was to get high quality video content that could just be clipped, long form, short form, ads, TikTok, reels, wherever we can put it, we're going to be putting it there. But then it kind of got traction and it took on like something bigger than that. And I actually think, we were getting just as much value out of full episodes being uploaded on Spotify and Apple as we were putting clips up on TikTok.
That would have been somewhat unexpected.
Totally. I thought it's not a big,
matter.
It's not a big podcast, but like I thought we'd be getting like 10 listens, like literally 10. I think we're over 6,000 now or something, which is great. So it kind of started with that, and then it kind of became a lead generation tool. So it became a way that we could reach out to people in the industry that we admired, to talk to them, have them on the show, get their insights, get those insights out to, we do have like a lot of uni students emerging, like Gen Z listen to it a lot. I get a lot of emails from them saying, they really like the podcast. So it became lead generation. It became like a kind of networking tool. And then also, lead generation in the way that it was content across channels as well. So once there was a influencer, creator, radio host woman who I admire a lot, and I was on her stories and she had reshared a TikTok video that we'd put out on TikTok, a 30-second clip of us talking about something or other. And I was like, oh, that's me on this person that I really admire. So it's like those little moments that when you put something out in the world, you just don't know where it's going to go. And I think this podcast has proven that to me. I had no expectations except for getting more content. And it's just exceeded them tenfold in all the different ways that it has kind of shown up for the business, I guess.
I say it all the time about all the content you get out of it. What do you guys get out of it?
Like, it's great for our team. It gives us, I actually think it's a really good cultural ad for our team. It's something that everyone enjoys doing. I think anyone who's in like a fast-paced industry would agree that you can get stuck in the weeds of doing and not actually stepping back, reflecting, looking at what's coming up, looking at, what's going on in the industry and in the world that you're kind of operating in every day. And it kind of gives us that opportunity to sit back and be like, okay, I actually need 2 hours to prep for the next podcast episode, or we're doing a podcast this week. What are we going to talk about? And it almost forces us to stop and pause and look at it. And then something could come out of that then funnels into the next day for something we're pitching for a client. I think it just gives that another element for us to research. And if we are all about getting our clients in content and getting our clients in these media platforms, it allows us to understand how that content is made, what is interesting about that content, and then we can actually apply it to clients. So I think there is that kind of professional development, cultural ad for the team as well.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever thought about it from a team building perspective, but I absolutely agree. Like, so I've sat in on most of and watched a lot of your stuff.
Lucky you.
Yeah, when your team come in together, one, they're probably freaking out a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
They've sent me in to do it, but they've obviously sat down and prepped, and then at the end, they've done a thing.
Mm-hmm. Totally. And I think it's, something that even when people come in to the office, if we have new hires, a lot of them are like, oh, I loved that podcast episode that the two of you did. And I think it also offers that kind of perspective for new hires and stuff. I feel like they kind of feel like they maybe know a little bit about us. They probably have a little bit more of an indication of, is this place the right fit for me, before they start working with us. And same for clients or talent and collaborators. They have a bit of a insight into who we are, what we value, how we, picture things before they start working with us, before they reach out. And I think that's hugely invaluable for any time poor person in business, because everybody is, because it's kind of like a pre-done chemistry check.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for that. I've never really pondered that as a
positive. I'm kind of thinking about it for the first time now, but it really is, because the amount of times people say, I listened to this podcast episode with this person or that, and, love how you spoke about this. Can we have a chat?
Well, there's the obvious lead gen stuff, right? Like the aggressive, this is what we do and this is how we do it.
Totally.
But the vibe check, chemistry check, that conversation
100%
has a lot of value.
Mm-hmm. And I think there's actually more in that as part of what we do in Pretty Average.
You can't put a value on it.
I think it's very like reflective of PR as a whole. You know, it's very just about that brand awareness and not putting on the hard sell, but we're just talking about things we're interested in, talking about good work that we've done, and the rest kind of falls into place.
I appreciate that. Understanding the insight that your audience gets out of it, but also like what your team gets out of it that's really interesting.
Totally.
So, yeah.
And I think that's the thing. Sometimes I think that's the beauty in not overthinking something sometimes, because I do think I kind of went into this project.
What is my show going to be?
Yeah, just like blissfully unaware. And, the person that kind of was a running point on it, Lulu, is just like, she was like, this is what you need. This is how I'm going to do it. And I was like, you know what? You go nuts. And I was like, hopefully it works. If it doesn't, that's cool. We finish and we try something else.
So the other thing I'd like to try to understand from your perspective is, so we talked about how there is a lot of podcasts out there and we've decided that that's okay.
More than okay.
But where is it going and what is it going to be in the future? The conversation podcast is absolutely a thing and I think it will continue to be a thing
Totally.
forever. The big guys or the bigger personalities are taking over that space a lot.
Yeah, like the Alex Coopers and the Stephen Bartletts.
They are the big players in the space, and I think they're probably pulling away a bit from the TV audience.
Oh, for sure. And they're getting a bit like, I feel like you've got to kind of go like hard on one kind of, I guess, like value prop as well. Like, you can see that they're really leaning in. They're still creating niche audiences. Just because the niche audience is large doesn't mean it's not niche. They're still like carving into a certain demographic. At the end of the day, Joe Rogan and Alex Cooper are not talking to the same audience. Mm-hmm. They're just not. They're talking to their own audiences because they know there's no point competing with each other.
So where is it going? What do you think is going to change?
I think we'll see if more like not short form because they're still like 30 minutes, but someone who I think is going like really on the up is Grace Beverley. So she's a UK-based podcaster and she's got this podcast called Working Hard with Grace Beverley, I think. And she does some conversational ones. Yeah. I think I got onto her through like one of the Gen Z girls at work, as I find most things these days. And she kind of just does like 30-minute almost like list style podcasts, which I find really interesting. So she'll be like, these are the 5 ways that I prep for my week on a Sunday. And this is why you should do it this way. And it's that kind of like hooky carousel style Instagram content. So I think we'll see way more of that. It's really easily digestible and very like tangible. I'll listen to an episode and I'll be like, great, I'm going to go home and I'm going to do those 3 things that I recall. She also uses a lot, like she'll release those episodes, right? But she'll be like, and this is from a clipping from this episode. So like amalgamated episodes just to like keep up with the sheer volume. I think kind of podcasters as celebrities obviously is becoming way more massive than it ever has been before. Obviously, we just saw the Golden Globes that for the first time ever, they had the Best Podcast Award, which Amy Poehler won. That's a great podcast. More celebrities going into podcasting as well. So podcasters becoming celebrities, but also celebrities getting podcasts.
The tangible takeaway one, that's quite fun.
Tangible takeaways, yeah. I like that list style.
Because I like talking about like my dad wrote a porno, right?
Yeah.
Like that was a concept for a show that was very different and interesting and hit a mark.
It was so good and stands the test of time. It's hilarious. Yeah.
And then there's a bunch of quiz shows coming out now, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah, I actually listened to one with Hamish and Andy recently because I couldn't see anything and I just put it on.
Jumping on the quiz bandwagon.
Love that.
Which I think is very cool that there is another thing. But yeah, where is it going? Like what space is it going to take over? Is something I'm excited about.
Totally.
Also wanting to stay ahead of.
I think very much like it's becoming, podcast pitching our products, product-based clients, food clients, thought leader clients. Podcast pitching is such a huge component of those strategies now. 10 years ago, 5 years ago, it just wasn't. Because now they're seen as a leader in the media. They're seen as legitimate media outlets. Obviously, some of the biggest media networks in Australia are podcast networks. You look at Mamma Mia, you look at Shameless. They are podcast networks, and they are also some of the highest revenue generating media networks in the country. I think so. We're going to see more of that editorial style content, I think, on podcasts. Especially, the Australian, Nine, they're all doing podcasts now. And I think that's only just going to get bigger and bigger. Obviously, they were, one of the big ones there was Teacher's Pet with Hedley Thomas. That was kind of one of the first ones that was done by a media outlet. I think it was The Australian. And that was very much investigative journalism. I don't think it's going to stay investigative journalism. That will still have its place. But I think you'll have... These are my top 10 favourite places to eat in Brisbane.
That's where I want to go.
That's what it will be, I think.
I want to go
like TikTok videos, but...
I want to go hyper local in a way.
Yeah.
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 I want to get someone sitting here who's the Brisbane food person.
Totally.
And does a 10-minute Southside Stones Corner
100%
episode.
Yes, exactly. And that will perform on YouTube, that will perform on TikTok, that will perform as a podcast. And it is like...
The thing that's not there yet is like the SEO search for podcast. So it's hard to find the content within an episode.
Yes.
By searching on a podcast app.
What about in the show notes?
If you put all of that detail, absolutely.
But that's a lot to consider when you're putting together show notes.
So podcast doesn't have a great Apple Podcasts, Spotify doesn't have a great algorithm in that way. However, YouTube does and TikTok does.
Yeah, TikTok does. I mean, if I'm going to Melbourne, I'm like, best places to eat, Melbourne. Yeah, and then you might see a podcast clip and then you might then add that podcast to your...
Yes, but you don't do that on a podcast search yet. I'd love to get some of your expertise on building an audience.
Yes.
So you guys have done a wonderful job building yours.
Yes.
What was the strategy? What is the strategy? What takeaways can you give people listening if they do or don't have an audience yet?
Yes. For the podcast or just generally, like an online audience that then you can leverage for podcasts?
Well, I think I think the point...
It all kind of works together.
I think the point of the question is you can't do one without the other.
Yeah, no,
so
I agree.
Posting because the
really
algorithm's not really
audience.
there,
yeah.
you can't just put a podcast out there and expect it to be found.
Yeah.
How would you have someone find it?
I mean, I think it's such a unique question for different personality types, and because I genuinely believe ours was just my full type B personality, because I was like, yep, let's just go, let's do it, let's not overthink it again. I'm such a done is better than perfect mentality. I think one thing I tell people all the time is social media can be deleted. Sure, people can screenshot it, whatever. No one really cares. You don't have an audience, so they don't care. If you've screwed something up, or if you don't like a video or something, or you feel like, oh, actually I'm feeling, but just delete it. It's no big deal. So I kind of just put my trust in my team, and I'm like, yeah, go hard, put anything on TikTok, as long as you're not being offensive or harming. And exactly. I think it's just start. I think that's the biggest thing. Everybody overthinks it, especially now it's competitive. It's harder than ever to cut through on any platform. There is more content out there than ever. That shouldn't discourage you. If anything, that's showing that it can be done. You just need to have a unique voice, I think. Do something. Sure, if you want to take inspiration from people, that's normal. But make it your own. Figure out what makes you different, and then just start. You cannot, if you start today or you start in 4 days' time, you're better off if you start today.
So if you have a bunch of podcast content and you're creating it and it's getting some listens, some views on the social platforms, what other things could or should you be doing?
Well, you could, put out a press release. So whether you would do that through a PR agency, or you just kind of find people who are working or who are writing about the kind of thing you're doing. Look at who is writing about podcast. Releases and all of that, and just send them your show and say, hey, I'd love, you to share this in it. Ask AI how to write a little pitch for it and who you should be pitching it to. That's a great tool. If you have no budget for PR, ask AI. It's not going to be perfect. That's why you need an agency, but it will be a good stopgap. Ask people you admire who have done it well as well. Say, hey, what did you do? What platforms were you using? Ask your friends and family to share it. I think that's the big thing that I tell people in like PR all the time. Everyone says, if you started a product tomorrow or if you started a brand tomorrow, what would you do? And I'm always like, I would give it to every single one of my friends and I would say, put this on your Instagram stories and tag it. Please do me a solid. We have a personal relationship. I really want this thing to work. Can you please share this for me? And that's all it is. And like that word of mouth, that reach can stack up so quickly. So get everyone to share the same podcast clip. Say, can you just share this for me, please?
What a reasonable request.
It's so reasonable. And it's like, it's not going to hurt you. When I started BPR, that's what I did. I literally put a photo of myself up. I said, hey, I'm Lucinda. And I'm not kidding. I sent that to every single person pretty much on my Instagram. And I said, hey, copy and paste. It would mean the world to me if you shared this on your story. I think I got like 1,500 followers on the BPR account within like 2 days just from everyone sharing it. And everybody wants to support you if you're nice about it and if you genuinely like are a good person and they believe in what you're doing. So ask your friends and family to share it. And then also be shameless in the way that you plug it on social media. Again, I say this all the time. When I started BPR, people must have been like, who the hell does this girl think she is? Like, whoa, you are not saving lives. I was just like absolutely relentless, sharing everything I was doing, tagging Bailey PR. I still do it because I'm like, well, I could have had 3 new people follow me last month who might not know that I'm doing Bailey PR, and those 3 people could have another 3 people that they know who need PR randomly. So I'll quickly put something else up. You just have to be relentless and like don't be afraid of self-promotion. And yeah, I think that's kind of the key, and just plug it on. There are so many promotional tools to us these days. Put it on TikTok, put it on Instagram, put it on Facebook. I don't know who's there. Maybe if your demographic is grandparents, definitely put it on Facebook, put it on YouTube, put it wherever you can, because someone might find it, someone might resonate with it, someone might forward it to a friend.
Let's talk about YouTube.
Let's. It's scary.
Yeah.
I need to do it.
You should be.
I know.
Yeah.
It's, time capacity.
I'll give you one thing.
2026 is my YouTube year.
I agree, and I'm pushing hard too.
Yeah.
One, the use case, so the amount of people that use it, absolutely. I'm constantly surprised by the clients that we have, the percentage of their listeners that actually watch it compared to just listen to it.
Well, we get a lot of requests. We when I say a lot.
Yeah,
when I say a lot, maybe one per episode.
Yeah.
Where can I watch this?
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm like, what? You can't. Shameless just started doing video podcasts, full video.
Yeah, why would?
And the second that if Michelle and Zara do something, I'm like, I shall. They know what they're doing. But and also YouTube, YouTube are keen to make it work. They want to make it work.
Yeah.
They got a lot of money. They're going to make it work. Let's jump on.
Play the game.
Yeah, the train is leaving the station. Let's get on.
So something to take into account.
I will need a lot of your advice for this journey.
So it makes the edit different. So you can take ums and ups and outs and thus and let me think, and you can take all of that out of an audio version from an edit perspective very easily. You can't take everything out of a video version.
No, but you can on YouTube Shorts.
You absolutely can on
or
a
it's
short.
coming, I think.
Oh, no, you can from a short. As
Yeah,
no, just from an actual edit perspective. Because you jump between.
Totally.
And it is jarring to the listener, the watcher.
Yeah, and it
Listener,
seems
watcher.
inauthentic.
Yes, so it changes what you can and can't redo in a way.
I think as well with YouTube, my question for you is, because at the moment when you send, and I could be wrong, I can't even remember how you send the clips, like the video clips, what formats am I getting them in? How hard is that for me to take what you send me, a clear shot, to then upload it to YouTube?
You can't.
Oh, cool. Love that for me.
So what we send you is a 9x16.
It's like a reel, isn't it?
It's a portrait file.
Yes.
So we send you a portrait file because you make reels with it.
What if I asked you, I want YouTube files?
It's a different edit.
Yeah, okay.
So it's the same content. It's the same start to finish.
But you have to edit twice.
We have to edit 1.5.
Okay, yeah, but it's more work for your team.
Yes.
So it's a different offering.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's an add-on.
Yes, correct. Yes.
So we need to create a portrait file.
Yeah.
And we need to export that. We need to give it to you.
Yeah.
You need to put the file that we give you has no music on it.
Yeah, I can then edit it and change it.
Has black space at the start.
Yes.
Can't use that for a YouTube clip that has 5 seconds of dead space.
No.
So what are you going to put up? on the first 10 seconds of your Bailey PR show?
Well, maybe a little teaser.
Yeah.
Teaser.
Sure. Yeah.
Or like a intro.
Yeah.
Do do do
an
do do
animated-
do do do.
You've got one of those.
Yeah, and then
But, like, we
I
got
come
to-
up like a little Lizzie McGuire
Yes.
character. Yeah,
Maybe
okay.
we'll use that and then the you touching the lamp part.
I think so. I think people would be like, I don't know what I'm getting in for, but I'll take it.
Yeah, so we need something visual for the start, which will be different for yours, and then we need a different file shape.
Yeah.
You need a thumbnail.
Yeah, true. I actually, when I saw that person speak at South by Southwest, they were talking about like the
That's the
power of a
thing.
thumbnail and
Yeah.
how like,
Huge.
yeah, and comparing two and what are you going to click on, and yeah, thumbnail. Do you create those thumbnails? Like obviously I know I can create them, but if I was a client that I couldn't, could you send me the package with the thumbnail? Could you upload it to YouTube for me? Do you do
Yes.
that? Great.
Yes. Yeah. So one of the things that we've discussed briefly is podcast hosting. So podcast lives in one place
Yes.
and then it goes to all the places.
Yes. And that is something I do not understand at all, and that's why you do it for me.
And that is the audio file.
Yes.
The video file is separate again.
Yes, correct.
So we need to go, video file needs to go to Spotify.
Ah,
and it needs to go
okay.
to YouTube separately.
Okay, so if I wanted to, because obviously if you're doing the YouTube videos, you might as well just put them on Spotify too.
Yep.
It's not even something I've considered. But so, and you can just do all of that for me.
Yeah.
Great. That's not me asking for you to do that for me. It's like me understanding that service offering.
Yes.
You're like, I don't want to
You're gonna
commit to
make me
doing
do
that
this?
for you. I'm not asking you to
But
commit.
you absolutely should, and everyone
Yes.
absolutely should be. It is an extra little bit of work,
Yeah.
but it could end up being half your audience. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is YouTube. If you get big enough, you get paid to be on there.
Yeah, we need the TikTok Creator Fund because I mean, I would have made like at least $60 by now.
At least $60.
Yeah, like that's, a top.
Where is that up to? What is the?
I don't know.
It's like they. I know it exists in the US.
I don't think it's even like a priority here, and I think TikTok's just all focused on not being banned in the US as the first priority before they think about paying us little insignificant Australians.
Well, I really 2026. This is what I'm pushing. Is Instagram followers aren't worth that much.
No, they're a vanity metric.
They're a vanity metric.
They are
Whereas-
100% a vanity metric.
Whereas Facebook followers will equal ad revenue.
Random.
In the same way that YouTube followers can
Totally.
equal ad revenue. So we talk about this, how many followers have you got?
I'm
I know,
so
and-
sick of
and
the
then
follower.
I know that there's a whole different conversation around impressions and
Oh, for sure, for sure.
engagement and all that sort of stuff.
That's
However,
that's where I live with like our talent
Yes.
and stuff. But yeah, followers are not
no,
relevant.
But if you can build a Facebook group, a Facebook community,
Facebook groups are huge. WhatsApp groups.
if you can build a YouTube community, a YouTube following, YouTube and or Facebook will pay you.
Interesting. Yeah, Facebook groups are huge.
So why are we talking about Instagram followers? We talk about it all the time.
I know, it's just so stupid. And WhatsApp groups are huge at the moment. That's another thing that I would do if you have a podcast and you find random people that like it, engage with them like your life depends on it. And create little WhatsApp groups. I'm in a WhatsApp group for a podcast that I love called Hot Smart Rich. And I'm like in an HSR Aussie Angels WhatsApp group where all the listeners of that podcast in Australia come together, and it's a business podcast, and it's a like they talk about investment and all this stuff. And so obviously then I have been connected with this group of like-minded women from across the country, and within this WhatsApp group, and like that is so powerful. That's amazing. And so I think that's where, you asked earlier where the future of podcasts is. I really think it's in those growing communities as well. I went to a Hot Smart Rich like Australian listener meetup and like met so many amazing people and made some really great connections. And it's like that didn't exist 5 years ago because people are craving that in real life connection, but they're getting it through these digital platforms. The two of the women that I met down there at that catch up are creating Australia's first ever podcast festival. So it's called Dome Fest. That's all about the communities that love certain podcasts, and they're building a platform where these communities can come together and talk. And so their literal whole business model is about connecting people who enjoy the same podcasts with each other. That's like the future of podcasting. It's those communities and those connections that you're getting out of it. Like that, they've got Abby Chatfield headlining for the first one. Like, it's insane. And it's worth way more, by the way, than 20,000 followers that you bought from Dubai. The 20 people in that podcast community is worth more than 20,000 fake followers any day of the week.
The other one I wanted to talk to you about is your talent management side of the business. So I'd love if you could tell us a little bit about that. But is podcasting something you suggest to your talent clients?
Yeah. So we, as a kind of subdivision of our Bailey PR business, we have BPR Talent. So they're a kind of curated collection of creators, I guess, and key opinion leaders. So really managing their commercial partnerships and their kind of creative alignments, really, but that have commercial value in some shape or form. We have people signed on our roster from makeup artists to pop stars to fashion stylists. So then we obviously manage their partnerships, whether that's on Instagram or TikTok or more widely. So that's BPR Talent, and something that comes up a lot is them being like, should I start a podcast? I think that's probably one of the biggest questions, and I think anyone with an online presence probably asks themselves that at some point because you've got an audience primed and ready. The answer is probably yes, but with several caveats, and one is time. I think it's a huge undertaking. And I think the second is, what are you talking about? It's all well and good for us to say, hell yeah, more podcasts the merrier, because I totally believe in that. But also, what are you going to talk about? So, I think you need to ask yourself what the purpose of your podcast is before just thinking, I want to move my audience over there. Why?
Yeah. What about from a content creation perspective?
Mm-hmm.
So what problem is it solving for that talent?
Volume, I would say.
Is that a problem, or is that a hole that needs to be plugged?
Not necessarily, not for all of them, and that's why I kind of always come back to that why, because if it's not solving that why problem, then maybe you don't need it. If you came to me and said, hey, I've been actually on this platform for 10 years, my growth has gotten a bit stagnant, and you know what, I really am an expert and I have way more knowledge to share than I can possibly try to share on my Instagram stories, then I'd be like, okay, well, yeah, maybe let's pull together a podcast strategy for you, because that's how you're probably going to be seen as a subject matter expert, more than just waffling on your Instagram stories. But again, that's not what it is for everyone. So it's always going to be very nuanced and esoteric to the person's knowledge.
And what about from a brand building perspective? When when does it help and when does it not, and when is it not needed? So
again, I think it's just all comes down to the objectives of it. Like, I think there's a lot to be said for podcast sponsorships, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot to be said about not actually having if you're a brand or a business or whatever, it doesn't need to be you as the talent.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, I think that, this can be, hey, I'm doing the Marble Table podcast presented by Frank Walker from National Tiles. And I think that's a huge opportunity for brands that they're not tapping into, the brand-owned podcast. I'm not talking like a mid-roll read. I'm talking about it is Frank Walker's podcast,
yep.
But,
delivered by interior designer with a personality.
Exactly. It's done by Anna Spiro or whatever. I think that's hugely, hugely underutilized, and that's what I'd be doing especially for those more niche things like a tile brand that can be, how else can we market this? How much more can we talk about tiles? Yeah. That's when you do something like that.
Yeah, I really like the idea of that for big corporates.
Totally. Yes, exactly. And because it's still safe. It's still reasonably safe. It's modern and it's up with the times, but it's not you're not taking a huge risk.
You can have some control.
Yeah,
but
totally.
not all of it, because otherwise it's not going to be authentic.
No, but you're getting content. You'll have usage rights on that content. You'll have ad usage. You can package whoever that host is with that audience. That should be packaged into a larger contract that has, PR interviews involved. They need to go and be a guest on other people's podcasts as, the Frank Walker ambassador. They need to create X amount of reels for you behind the scenes. Going into record, I'm a podcast host. Oh my goodness!
Midway through the season, CEO gets an episode.
100%. Yeah, it's a big. It needs to be like a really big strategy.
So what I want to try to understand is, for clients who want to generate a big audience, these guys aren't going for that targeted niche listener that we talk about. Like for me at ClearShot, if I get 10 listens, but one or two of those people reach out and then potentially become a client, that all becomes worthwhile. But for people who are looking for like a bigger audience or bigger numbers, if you had someone come to you with that objective, what would you say to them about growing an audience through podcasting? Do you have any tips for them?
I think if they said that was the objective and they're like, I want to grow my audience or I want to access a new audience through the podcast, I would tell them to do, for every one episode that it's just them, if they want it to be just them, get someone else on the podcast. Get someone else who audience you might have a little bit of crossover on, but not massive. When you put that bad boy live, you have them promote it as well on their audience. You do a collaborative reel. Make them, when they are being asked to come on the podcast. So say, hey, as part of this agreement, you've got to accept a collaborative post with me and you've got to pop it on your stories. 9 times out of 10, they're going to be more than happy with that. If you're, again, a good person and they're aligned with you, you've got instant access to their audience.
And there's yours.
Yes, exactly. So it's win-win. I mean, that's where we've seen a lot of growth when we've brought people on to our podcast, and it was never the intention initially. And then, we would just invite people as collaborators. They get really good high-quality content too, by the way. We send them the whole video. I say, fill your boots. And then, we get this whole new audience that we would have maybe never accessed, but it's authentic and it is still really valuable to their audience as well because it's them and the people following them care about them clearly.
Love that. Thanks, mate.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for your time and for helping us with the podcast.
I'm looking forward to your YouTube channel.
Yeah, 2026 is the year of like pretty average going pretty good, mate.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.